She takes his clothes from the drawers and wardrobes, empties them into big black bin liners, and ties the tops in knots. She sits on his stripped bed after stripping the posters from the walls. She dissolves. She buries her face in his caseless pillows and smothers her tears. She held him in her arms when he was a baby. Her mother had a photo of it on the mantelpiece. And now in this whole wide world, there is nothing good left. Her shoulders shake noiselessly. She punches the sides of the bed. She cries for the first time. She realizes she's ever really cried in her whole life. She experiences a grief, in light of which all other tears are revealed as nothing more than pale imitations of this sickening, gut-wrenchingly painful reality. She feels so completely and utterly limited. She can think of nothing to do except this. She does not know what she will do when she finishes crying. She can conceive of no other world apart from that bed.
These are the great people, you see. Observe the pettiness of their grief. How it fails to move them to transcend their limitations, as it should. I offered them transforming fire, but they remain base metal. Like rubber on tarmac, I revolve over them, but they remain as ever, solid. There is no beauty to their fragmentation. I continue whirling upward, and I leave this scene and return to the previous Christmas, as her mind takes her there. I follow. They welcomed me into their home. I basked in the brightness of their pretty lights and warm living room, their love for each other, and the growing regard with which they held me. Pots and pans in the sink. The carcass of the turkey and cold roast potatoes in the fridge. I sit on the steps leading down into the garden. Kitchen door imperceptibly ajar. I hold out my cigarette for a light, and he obliges and sits down on the step next to me. Do you think addiction negates free will? I ask. He blinks at me.
I don't know. I've never really thought about it.
Impressed with the slight intellectualism such as this. I get the impression he thinks I'm smarter than I am. I delight in the company of the great people. I take a long, slow drag of my cigarette. I am a master of affectation. As far as I can see, continue, a lot of things people do, not just smoking, mind you, a lot of things are not done because people want to do them. No, not at all. People are trapped. They're addicted, you see. Addicted to systemized living, to getting up in the morning and going to work, and getting married and having children. They're addicted to keeping up with mortgage repayments and paying the bills, to retiring at 65 and dying at 67 out of boredom.
I don't think people are addicted to work and bills and all of that. I think they're just part of being alive.
I laugh and shake my head. I dismiss him and his face falls, visibly. Fuck you! That's what you think life is. Fuck you. I lean in closer, touch his face, soften mine. The abrupt change in my demeanour unbalances him. Life is about passion, about feeling an impulse and reacting to each and every thought that leaps across our synapses, each and every mental moment that possesses the supreme energy to bridge that gap. Life is about burning, and such thoughts deserve our respect. We ought to burn, we ought to set the world on fire with our fever. We ought to raise cities and towns, and skyscrapers and farms. We ought to recreate existence in a blaze of crimson blood-red glory. We ought to do so much. I lower my voice and withdraw my hand. But we don't. There are so many thoughts that go unanswered. Each thought is like a question, you see. No. You don't see.
Finish what you're saying.
There's really no need. You've heard enough already. You don't owe me anything. Go back inside. He is upset.
No. I feel like I owe you so much already. Please, finish.
So I weave my web of words. And I place him at the centre of it, deadly spider that I am. I reintroduce the subject of death, ruffle his hair, caress him, tell him about the one last great act of free will left open to us.